It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas and we have wonderful guests. And today we're going to be talking about a very touchy subject, but please listen closely, and I think you will understand why we're bringing this up. Of course, I have as a wonderful guest today, Jenny Lee. Let me bring her on. Geez, I'm having trouble with everything here lately. It's one of those days. Welcome, Jenny. So happy to see you again.
Hey. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm pretty good, I guess. It's been a crazy day. And we're going to talk about the energies besides just the religious stuff. And I don't know if you want to talk about the energies first or talk about the religion first. But when we talk about the religion, I have something that I wanted to read real quick. Kind of that'll be a...
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and start with that, and then I'll go into walking through the fire.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, I'm going to read this, and later I will post it. I have it recorded, but I'm not sure exactly how well the recording. I want to listen to it before I put it out there. It's not that long, so I'll just read it for now. And this is a mystical sage inquiry, and I call it religious deception versus divine connection. Okay, the same as our title here, but here it goes. They told you God lived in a building, that you needed a priest, a book, or a ritual to reach him, that you were born wrong and had to earn your way back to the light. But I ask you, did God really create you broken? Or did religion need you to believe that so they could control you? They gave you fear instead of freedom. They gave you obedience instead of inner knowing. They gave you guilt and called it virtue. And all the while, they built golden temples on the backs of the poor. This is not divine. This is deception. You were never meant to confess your soul to a man in robes. You were meant to commune directly with the God self within. There is no middleman between you and the Creator. There is no veil except the ones placed over your mind. The kingdom of God is within you. But they buried that verse beneath layers of doctrine. Let's pause for a moment. Feel your breath. Feel your heart. Right there in silence is where God has been waiting. You don't need to memorize scripture to be holy. You need to remember who you are, a living expression of source light. They taught you sin, but you're not a sinner, you're a spark. They taught you shame, but your essence is love. They taught you fear, but your soul is eternal. So let's break this spell, shall we? For example, religion says obey. Spirit says awaken. Religion says you are broken. Spirit says you are divine. Religion says fear God. Spirit says merge with God. Religion says confess your sins. Spirit says discover your truth. Religion says follow the church. Spirit says follow your soul. You are the temple, you are the altar, you are the light. No more waiting for permission, no more kneeling to false kings, and no more fear of damnation. You were never meant to be ruled by religion. You were meant to resonate with source. This is the great return. from mind control to divine remembrance, from guilt to grace, from false gods back to the God within. So I call these truth grenades wrapped in light. Detonating delusion one soul grid at a time. Okay, that's my little piece. I have that set to pictures and so on, but it's not quite ready yet, and I'll be putting that out again. So anyway, that's our starting platform story.
Yeah, I was very young, and I went to church because I was hearing voices at a very young age, and even in the church, and even at the time, of looking at the pictures they put up and everything else, and knowing that Spirit was telling me this is untrue. There's always you never could feel comfortable at a church, because the soul was not being honest about the intentions there, their souls. It's set as a platform, as a podium, for a performance, and is contracted through a hierarchy of man's rules to manipulate and control, and to set your mindset at a low level. It was never about making you feel good about it or setting your soul free. It was all about enslavement. But the thing is now, even with our younger generation, they're seeing the truth. They're a generation that's finally stepped away from the church, which is a good thing. And because no one's buying what the flesh program, they're walking in the flesh, they're feeding the flesh, and that's not working anymore. And with religion, when you step outside the plate on this, every avenue is a dead end door with them. Their judgment is on control. There's never a clear path. There's all confusion in how they manipulate the verses in the Bible. And the thing is I tell people, and I've done this over and over. It doesn't matter what religion, Jehovah's Witness, Catholics, whatever. Love debating. I love the people that would come to your door and talk about religion, and they would always leave, because they're only set with a couple rules of what they need to go by. They weren't set to teach to go outside the box and listen to the inner voice of Creator. They were taught in ego that the head of the church is the one that leads them. As like I said, when I was a younger age and saw a Catholic father, as everybody bent down, and I looked at him in the eye and said, "You are a mortal. You are not the God." And so I will never bend down and put my knees in front of you, because you have no right to make judgment upon others. You do not have the power. So when you see through them, you'll see the fear in them. When I graduated high school, I was raised Quaker, and my pastor.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's interesting.
It is. He gave me a Bible for graduation, and he goes, "You're going to need this." And now I look back, I go, well, he was right, because I picked it to death and decided what was truth and what is not, and applied what was really truthful about it. Because Spirit always says, there's the truth within the lies. Not everything in that book is true. So you apply it within your gut instinct of what it's telling you, because they have manipulated it for control. So yeah, I mean, it's all a game, another performance, another show. They were never going to go to the extent to save you. That was not what their intentions were truly about. And that's what I call like the Joel Osteens and the bigger churches. It's like they want the fruits from the people, but will never return the fruits when the people need them. And that for religion, you have a bigger responsibility when you're leading the flock and you're being sold. Your soul has been sold to the devil. Your prosecution and what you've done to lead them off the cliff is a different hell for you. Just like anything that they do to the kids, because it's built on ego. And so our religion, our soul, our path. If anybody wants to know what's the true path, is you've been walking in it since the day you were born. The path was the test every day that you went through that Spirit put in front of you. There's no degree that you need because you've already earned the degree of life. You've already walked through the test. So it doesn't matter if a person is an alcoholic or a drug addict or a mean soul. Everybody does not avoid the tests. And whether they serve the light or they serve the dark, they make a decision. As Spirit said, we sent many, but not all made it. So it's the path that we walk is not judged. The tests are there, presented to us to make a choice, to walk our own path and see if we can withstand this realm's pressure and control. And so we're all at the end of this. We've all been tested. We're all here. And as you can look back and value the test that you've been through, because you don't value anything until you've gone through the process. And then you realize how valuable it is after you get through something.
Well, I was raised with 12 years of parochial school, so I had religion in every class all through high school, from grade school and through high school. So I had a lot to work out. And I'll never forget, I came home one time from religion, and this was our religion, from college on a weekend, and I saw the pastor of my parents' church, and he said, where you been? I haven't seen you in church. You need to come and take communion. Now, I didn't know then what I know now, but this is what kind of started the wheels turning on me. He said to me that he goes, you need to come to a communion. I said, oh, I went to one of those in at the college. They had a a big celebration cut type thing. I didn't really realize it's, what it was at that time. But what happened was he said to me, well, that doesn't count. You have to come to our church. And that was, what? What do you mean it doesn't count?
Right.
And so then that started. And then there was another time when I was in a very desperate situation, and I went to a church organization for some help. And all they did was they were very judgmental and very they weren't helpful. They weren't helpful at all. They were there to judge you. And judge not lest ye be judged. So anyway, yeah, that's so I had to, transmute all that indoctrination, because that's what it is.
It is. It is an indoctrination, but the soul can recognize because it doesn't feel right. And then there's pressure put upon through your bloodline to abide by it. And it's those independent thinkers that made those choices and say, no, I'm not doing it. And then, of course, it's like, well, then you're dark, or then you're going against God, or, we'll pray for you. Which, like I said, the way you want to shut down anybody like that is just look them in the face and very sincere and go, okay. So,
I gotta close my door. I don't know what.
okay.
I don't know if my dog is up. Oh, that might be. Actually, hang on one second. I gotta let the dog in, not out. I just locked him out. Otherwise, he'd be scratching on the door. Hang on a minute. Go ahead and keep talking. Molly? Come on.
So everything is control.
Sorry.
And the awakening is about completely not being in control anymore. Taking your own path and not worrying about what people think and how they perceive you. It's what you are concerned with is how spirit perceives you and how you honored them and how you were diligent on their information.
Somebody asked the question, why are there so many religions? Well, that was part of the plan to create division amongst people. So that, I'm a Jew, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Lutheran, I'm a Presbyterian, I'm this, I'm that. I mean, I put my camera back on. And again, that was to divide us, because that's what they like to do. And
and that's what I'm saying. When you're in front of them, they try to honor themselves and saying they contribute and they give. So give on the weekend time to give into your religion, but what have you done for humanity lately? There's no reply and there's no answer. So that's the whole process. It's a daily path of what have you done, what have you recognized, what have you identified that spirit has put, or creator has put in your path. That's the problem. It's all down to our soul. Everything that we did was about the soul making the right choice because we were tested. We didn't need the religion to go through this.
We sure didn't.
It was just a distraction. It was all a distraction.
And to top it off, they didn't teach what we really needed to know. Like how to meditate or how to recognize. Well, the way that Christ taught isn't really taught either. That's not what they taught. And then they had the big thing about, he died for your sins. No, he didn't. He was murdered.
Right. And well, they thought that blood was going to be the purest and they could use it. And it's just the end of all of it, because the religion is incinerating. It's dismantling. It's going to be a ghost in a different way soon.
Yeah. Wait till they find out everything that's under the Vatican.
Yeah, and that's what I've talked about for a long time. And just the sickness of people that, and that's what I would tell. I tell people that are of Catholic religion, of anybody making the cross symbol and touching the water, which was not the holiest water, and just you have to denounce any contract that you have ever made with the Catholic Church, that you their intentions of deceiving your soul of what it was, and you have to disconnect that yourself because you have the free will of that choice, not submitting to that contract. And that's one of the things that when you see outside that veil, and it's only that the coldness is the cold energy in the churches. The only church that I ever came across, and because it was other people, And it was because it was of the Spirit they celebrated. And it was Southern Baptists. And they really, with their tones, their voices, and their frequencies, brings in goodness. And they believed in really helping the neighbors and doing what they could in the old Southern ways. Those are the only church I've ever walked in and was drawn into the spirit of, because it was about them taking care of each other in a very good way. So the defiance that I had in front of religion was strong. I went to a camp, a Quaker camp in Colorado, and they just put test in front of you and control in front of you, and I just defied all of it. I wouldn't even be a part of it. It was all about control. It was not playing along with it and was not told to.
Isn't it interesting that all religions, too, they really subjugate women?
Yes.
They're not considered equal.
Oh, I think the Mormons are the worst on that.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. The Mormons are one of the worst on that process of things. Because when I did have some Mormons that came by my house, and I got excited. It's like, yes, it's time for a test. You know, when they would want to come in, teach their book, and then I decided to describe where they live, what they do, all this stuff, and they went back to their, I don't know what you call them, their leader. And the first low conscience level that they can come up with, she's a witch. She has to be a witch because we are not understanding this. So she has to be a witch.
Oh my God! Look what the Catholic Church did to people that they said were witches too. They burned them at the stake. They did all kinds of evil things in the name of religion. That just never ceases to amaze me.
Right, and so, and I don't know what people know, but I do remember that, you know, when they all go into that room. I asked Spirit about this, and I saw something. I don't remember where it was, but they, instead of the vanity of all of them, I think this is where the white hats called them out, and the vanity of being prosecuted in the way that they wanted. I think they all went in that room, and that's what ended it, is what I was told about the story. That's vanity. You know, instead of being prosecuted the way they're supposed to, they all went into this one room that they make judgment and put their smoke in the sky. And that's why people need to pay attention to that. It's been gone a long time. It's just because they know they're going to lose. And the only thing that's going to save them, there is no saving. You just go back to your evil doer that you came with. So demons have huge vanity and ego, and so their life ended in a different way than what the media knows about. So those great cardinals, or whatever you want to call them, I think the devil was so good at pushing the agenda of the ego.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so strong within him. And it's a challenge because he could never be creator. And he was rejected by creator because of him making a decision. And that's the thing. So it's like, well, if I can't have it my way, then I'm going to create chaos and problems. And man, it was easy to mess with them. And I've had demonic energy tell me some of those humans are worse than us. And I believe it now. I think people do too. Because you have to understand, and on the spiritual end of the light and the dark, there's rules and guidelines to a certain degree. When they brought in some of the humans tried to just turning into more of a
I used to always come to the defense of humans, and I know what you're saying, and it's very disturbing to say the least. And Mary says here that most of the people I met in church were hypocrites. I've always said that. And she
right.
said she was always judged poorly because her mother was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's not fair. That's
Um,
not
no,
loving. Is that loving?
no. I think, and I was young. They, where disability came in, and being raw, 5 years old, and telling people what they would do, and if they did, they would die. I mean, it was just direct. But and then they died. But I mean, but the thing is, and then just sensing that it's something that the church really was in fear of, because they're like, whoa, because we can't deceive you because you see through us. And that's the thing. The one good thing about my dad, he would never go to church. Never.
Even though my parents sent me to Christian schools, um, they didn't really go to church that often, which was, I'm glad. It used to bore me to death.
Because it's politics. It's just politics.
Yeah.
That's just another form
It
of
really
politics.
is, because then what happened was this is kind of interesting. My parents didn't send my youngest brother to the Lutheran high school. And because of that, the church excommunicated him. What kind of crap is that?
That's control.
Exactly.
It's programming. It's a complete program on many levels. I mean, it's always been that way. And that was the thing. And that's the thing. It's just they know it's all going to come down. And this is the thing. You have your smaller church communities, and those people are actually trying to serve. They're trying to do the right thing in their smaller communities. And then when they're crashed, this is the crash and the burn that's going to come with reality, is they really thought they were doing something good, and then were completely psychologically controlled. When that burn, you think there's going to be a crash. Wait till the religion comes down, and all those people that donated money and did all that and thought that they were all doing the right thing because they were in a program. And that's where part of that process of hitting the pavement hard, and reality is going to hit in a very hard way.
That's going to be a tough one, because another way of putting it is religion has been a crutch for people in many ways. And when you take that away from them, they're going to be upset, but yet they don't realize that they have a direct connection within to source, but because they were never taught that.
Well, look at the churches when they start. You guys understand that they were small community little churches. They were, they weren't that big. There wasn't much money put into them, and it was all about the people. And then as generation after generation, the church expanded into how big, and now it's about money. I mean, just
everything's about money. It seems like.
You can tell, like, holy shit, and they're doing construction because the community is just pouring in the money. Well, they need to start taxing the hell out of these big churches, because they all wrote on the dotted line and said, okay, we'll program.
Well,
we don't have to pay for taxes.
There are 501c3s, and they have to answer to the government because of it, and they do what the government tells them to do. Like, for example, the program that we went through for the past 4 years, many churches took money to push that program, and their congregations paid a heavy price for it.
Right. Yeah, it was never a good situation. So yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. It's bad, you know, on all levels of the situation. So there's not much you can do about it.
Okay, here's a question for you, John. I'll let you do this. So was Christ crucified, or did he go on to live and have a family with Mary?
He went on to live.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
That was there might have been, I think there might have been a twin with him, and I think one knew that maybe they didn't know that it was him, and the good one, I want to say the good one, the gifted one got away. Cause, so I do believe that. Um, so I believe that there were two.
This is when people see and find this out, they will start rejecting the religion more. They found a mass grave of baby bones in a basement of the Vatican. They have actually decor with bones and skulls, and
So
they have bones stacked like bricks. It's disgusting.
I have a picture of a cup. Do you have the picture on your phone or something? But it's a cup, and the cross is upside down, and in the bone, this is what I've been talking about. This cup, and in the middle of it is children's teeth, so where they grab it. But it has the upside down cross, and they use it in a different ceremony. And then all they showed me is hard. It was hard to draw that when you're drawing in the presence of evil, feeling evil as you're drawing this, because it's so corrupted. It's so all these worldwide people get in this room, and because it's like the purest, and what they put in there. It's just all about power. So I'll be happy when that cup is dismantled and put where it needs to be. It is definitely an Annabelle situation of a cup. It's pure evil. That's not good.
Yeah.
So they showed me that a long time ago. So it's a circle room that's down deep within the Vatican. And it's like I talked about the Vatican for years now, and I've described it. I got pictures on Instagram about how there's layers, and there are, there's books, and they show these books that look like horsehide, of the information down there. And then they show, all these knowledgeable books that they defied for man. And then they call them the precious beings that they contained. So when they showed me all these little doors, that all, they all went through, they all knew it was like the secret door, and there were many down there in there. And then the darkness and the walls, the hollowness of the walls, the way it felt, because in the coolness of that, going down that low, you can feel the evil breathing, existing. And then the dimensional doors that they have down there that they show too, to me. I've talked about this on my YouTube about, and that they have to reveal and resurface everything from the Vatican, which they have to be very careful on this process, because it's not easy, because it goes down very deep, and it, which is really weird, is how small these doors were as they would go through and went through. And to serve a master like that, and what people don't understand is, like I said, the Catholic Church is the one that formed the Devil's Bible.
And then what about those red shoes they wear?
Yeah. Well, it's all one big bloodbath. There is no soul. It's like the veins of the whole flesh is consumed with the blood of evil. I mean, evil's not happy unless you're completely submerged in the possession and they have control. Because the devil doesn't like any surprises, and it doesn't like strength, it likes weakness. And that's why it uses man's weaknesses to control, which is the ego, money, so that's the problem. And that's the thing that we have to submit to, saying, you know what, this stuff is not important anymore. Being in a content, balanced situation, having the things that you need, but the Hollywood process and all that stuff, it's just, it's a dead end door of the soul, for the soul, to sell the soul.
There's a question for you, Jenny. What signifies wearing a cross?
And this is the thing I'm going to tell you, because that's the room.
God.
And that is the cup. And in the cup,
it's a mockery.
There's teeth.
Yeah.
And I've had this for many years. The lights go into this room. That's how it looks down there too. They're showing me. So the teeth are right there. See, they take the kid's teeth and they put it. It's not good. And the blood.
What kind of beings can do stuff like that? I mean, they're not human. They can't be. I can't believe they're human.
It's really bad. So what was the question?
The question is, what signifies wearing a cross? Why do people wear a cross?
Because our intentions, that at that moment when we wear the cross, it makes us feel protected, because the Creator knows that where it comes from is like a shield of God, like the shield of the shield. And we use that as a shield. So there's always these type of symbols, but the reason why it is that way, it's from your heart, of your intentions. And that's what creates the energy. I have a cross that's from Jerusalem, from that ground. And I know that ground has a strong energy that is there in a veil. And so when you wear a cross, and that's why for our own, we all have our own signature of what we are, our own signature. So it seems to me that symbol is people use in the light as a protection.
Sorry about that.
So that creates an energy. That's why the demonic can't be around it, because we created it in a form of protection. So it was one of the things that about, 15 years ago, that my ex got the cross, and Spirit goes, you need that cross. Not just, it's the wood from the cross, it's what it was around that was important. And I have it in this house to this day.
Wow.
It is from the Holy Land. So it's how
that
you're
land
looking
really holy.
I think parts of it are, because I know that there are healing there were healing kingdoms, healing waters that were beneath all those churches. Miracles happened beneath the grounds, in the true rivers that were there. And that's what's hidden. There's a lot hidden in the Holy Land, a lot of artifacts.
There's a ton of stuff under the Vatican.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes down very deep, and plus there's the tunnels go for miles.
Yeah. And that again, they showed me there's a room that almost looks like a cathedral underneath there, and there are imprints of angels. And so at one time, you got to understand, they're showing me it was a healing. There were the rivers were attached, the healing pods of were attached for all of this. But that didn't profit. That didn't make money that way. So I believe there's waters like this new, the downloads I've been getting signifying signature for water, wind, and even colors that they showed me on each direction mean something. And then when we look at things as thin veils, there's power behind it, because we're not looking as the flesh and the bone and the blood. We have to look at things as frequency and energy, and each item in a different way has its own signature of energy. So there are artifacts, and these bells, they keep showing me these are different bells that they show me than a normal bell. And I'm wondering, and they keep telling me that for Trump to see a bell, but there's this gold stripe that goes around the bell. So there's different frequencies that have a protective barrier around these bells. So I wonder when that's going to appear, because it's in my head that Spirit keeps saying, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell, which is the golden age, which is we do for the children too, but the part of the process is ringing that frequency. So imagine the metal that is created in that and brings a frequency, and the demonic cannot hear it nor want to be around it. So I'm sure when the Vatican is revealed, I'm sure there's certain types of those type of frequencies are going to be brought to the surface. So I would be looking for, when we get to a certain process of the construction of tearing down the churches and digging into the ground, but they also show me big amounts of gold in the Holy Land and under the Vatican. It has always been there. And we're not talking, a couple ounces. We're talking giant-sized boulders, and they could never take it out of the ground.
Didn't they remove that gold from the underneath the Vatican?
Not this gold. They haven't done that yet. They haven't
another source?
Because what they showed me is there was another species that left it here because they could never take it for some reason. And they left it. And so what do you do when you want to fight over something? You put churches or you put ground on top of it and bury it so no one could see it. That's the whole thing about, burying everything.
Bridges and dams and things of that nature too.
The whole process of that. So it's going to be interesting of keeping an eye on the Holy Land, what comes to the surface, and what happens under the Vatican of what they're going to surface. And that's going to be interesting. But I also think California has a lot that has to be resurfaced too. That's evil. And so the only way that that's going to happen is they're going to have to collapse it to a certain point. And that's so there are different regions of how things are buried so deep within the ground, and we have to surface all this. The thresholds of the bridges, those are, to keep us contained and keep us binded to a certain point. So, and looking at the symbolisms that are on the bridges, all that needs to be seen. And even in the cities like New York and everything, all the symbolism is above. And what that does is a different type of spell that contains us, controls us, confines us. And that's why the frequencies, all that atmosphere has to change. It has to be completely dismantled. And that's where I think with the new internet, and people think the old internet's just this internet, and it's not. There's something that's being pushed. It's been pushed for a long time. It's like shutting something off, and all of a sudden you're breathing clearly. You're sensing in a clear way. Right now, I mean, I've moved into this area, and when I go to the store, they're walking around it's like zombies. There's no communication. Even today, I went to a store, she couldn't even talk. You just tell the program's so deep. There's no personality. They have completely dismantled the personality of the soul, and they're just this walking component, and nothing else is. There's not an opinion. There's anger, there's hatred of trigger points, and then there's just it's a dead silence of nothing because you're not sensing the soul. So we're in these dismantling phases.
Yeah.
And when you're around those people, you notice how it affects you. You know, it takes a while, but once it affects you because it's too much, almost like the Dead Sea in a different way. You're submerged in that when you hold the light. And that's why people are just having a hard time being around them. There's nothing there. Whatever was there is gone.
Okay. Someone says organic true source or Teresa, organic true source divine matrix versus synthetic false trying to appear real false matrix. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I think, I think the giants, Tartarians and stuff like that, when that stuff is revealed with that history, that trueness, they always put fear to fear the giants, to fear that they were, and this is a thing that I've talked about them for a while. In many regions they are in, and that they're in a stasis of sleep. And that's, we get occupied, but that process is going to begin too. And that they were intelligent beings, and they kept villages together and protected villages. Makes you wonder on the negative of why they put them to sleep, because it's another process they couldn't control or contain. So just like angels on different levels, I believe that giants are on different levels of conscience too. I'm really attracted in a way of the information and the history, and that's something I'm interested in on their path, the true story of them too.
I'm just looking to see if there's any. Yeah, I agree with this. They are all psychopaths. Oh. Yeah. This is interesting too. Yeah. This woman says, I was told by a Catholic priest while holding my 4-month-old to stay with my abusive husband. Walked away from it forever. More spiritual now than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they come up with some real winners, don't they? It's all like you said, we were saying before, it's all about control.
Yeah, that's all it is about.
And money, of course.
Yeah.
That's why they go around recruiting more people, because don't they have a significant tithing required of any kind of member? Like you have to give us
too, but no,
percentage.
They don't see things as innocent. I don't think the concept of innocence and it's about control, using something for their own means. There's so much molestation in the Catholic Church and just a volume of it. And it's just, they, made it look forgotten, forgiven. It's not in any way that's forgotten. I would see those white robes. I just thought, God, I don't even want to know what's underneath that they're hiding. And sitting down and confessing. That was the biggest thing to me. I'm like, confess to what? To a mortal? Are you kidding me? The guy's probably jerking off on the other side. So yeah, it's changed completely.
Hillary wears an upside down cross, and so do a number of other celebrities, or else.
Well, they can't wear it the other way. They can't wear it the other way. They couldn't even put it on their skin because what it means to, so the dark is putting the cross down, the light is putting the cross up. You know, that's the whole thing. Everything's black and white, dark angel, light angel. That's the whole thing about it. That's why demons hate light. They like darkness. That's why their eyes of something is dark is because they are dark. Their eyes look dark. You have to reflect a goodness. That goodness has to be from the form of light through the soul.
Somebody's asking you if you can give an answer about how much longer before the craziness stops and people can get on with their lives.
The lives are never going to be the same in the way that you had before. The future is going to change that because we're not living the same life. We're not going back to that. And so you have to understand the future is full of technology, spirituality, giving to humanity. So you have to look at stepping behind a plate of glass and going, all this is burning to the ground. And the creation of it is not going to be a process where it takes long, prolonged 3D. The advancement of technology is going to serve in a different way in the future and how we live. We have separated ourselves in communities and like the tribes, how tight they are, that are not that are not created by technology and stuff. So you're going to have the tribes of caring and compassion, but have a touch of technology to bring to this earth. But I'm just telling you that there is no going back in the way that, because in that way, that was enslavement. That happiness was enslavement that you knew of. And in the future, it's a different happiness of direction of knowing true freedom.
I've heard this before. Well, I can read this one first. It's 12 tunnels under the Vatican that have ancient manuscripts from the history of the world. I've read they even have blueprints of creation. And they have hidden so much from us.
True.
Let's see. Let's see what Teresa has to say here. The underworld and the astral is collapsing, so the entities are desperate to hide, and the ones that still have shadow stuff not dealt with, it's getting attachments and entities.
I believe there's a lot that's been removed for on a consistent subway off this plane, because I haven't sensed or dealt with the true evil that I have seen before. It's been a while since I've been confronted, challenged in that way. There's like the loosh energy. Usually it's fed. It's, and you're not getting that. It's only a person, like an NPC or a negative one, that's stirring their own negativity. It doesn't have an entity behind it that can feed off it anymore. There's just these veils that are not cleared out that we're not seeing, that needs to be completely dismantled, disintegrated. So I don't believe the entities that were once here are here anymore.
Let's see, I was looking. What, okay, here, let me bring this one up, okay. Why the original face of Statue of Liberty has the same details of Lucifer's statue? Because that's what it is. And the
Because
same
it is.
face as
It's a barrier. Look where it's at in the water. Again, another threshold to contain man. I always say rods of God is going to take care of that one.
also, so, and the same face as Elvis. Also, Trump has the same scars in the face like Elvis. I don't know about that one. Do you know anything about
No.
that?
No.
I haven't heard anything about that. That doesn't resonate with me, but okay. Yeah, this is so true.
So all these are okay. Right now, it's like I told you guys about walking in the fire, and I posted on Facebook like everything that could happen on this earth is happening. Everything is being dismantled. You're having all these storms and everything, and I'm just like, there's no more evidence of showing you that we are walking in all this process and everything's being dismantled. And the point is, all you have to do is stand in that fire and go, it's going to disintegrate. And like I saw a post that Trump put, he's like, I might have to burn it all down. Because that's what Spirit said a long time ago. Walk through the fire. You have to understand, Washington, the evil that's there, it has to be disintegrated. You can't walk in it. You can't be in it. Every part of Washington D.C. is evil. And in the spiritual realm, how do you clear out something? You burn it. You do a dance. You cleanse it. And I always said that they need, outside the White House, what they need is a sweat lodge. They need a sweat lodge because, to go into, sweat lodge brings you into that process of you and Creator. It's you and them in that time and space to look and reflect and fasting in a different way. And so the thing is Mother Earth is throwing up. It's throwing up. It's throwing everything up. It's puking everything that's evil out through the oceans, through the lands, through everything. And it's just like I said, when they're putting storms ahead, a month ahead, and all this stuff, it's just like they don't normally do that. Usually tornadoes are not predicted, and that's why we have all these warnings. You only have like 3 minutes, and all of a sudden they know when tornado is going to hit in 2 weeks. I'm just saying, all this process that we're going through right now, look around. It's like, wake up. It's reacting. The Earth is reacting. It's changing. Solar flares, the ocean, the ground. There is no normalcy. There is completely holding the line and walking through the fire right now. That's what we're doing. And to be honest, I told Spirit the other day, I'm like, all these predictions that I did and all that stuff, I just wanted to get ended and get them done so I can move on to getting this new stuff for the 5D predictions and all that stuff started. So, because you always want to check the balance of when everything hits, and we're in a lot of them, but I want them to be done and over with so we can move on to the future. We want to get to the future. There's no way of getting to the future until everything is disintegrated that needs to be disintegrated, the bridges. I mean, everything from the ground that needs to be surfaced. I mean, the people that need to be arrested need to be arrested. Contained.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they've been saying that they're going to do that haven't been done. And that's getting people pretty upset. And rightly so. It takes time, I know, but still. People need to see it.
They do, but if they saw it in the blunt way that you think, do you really think that they're going to respond in the way we're not? And the military is, they do things in a different way. I mean, the way the way they've been doing things, they're being very direct, very assertive of taking care of it. And you can see the results of that. You can see it in the immigrants' face that are loading up on the buses. And even though they know they broke the law, they know all this stuff, but still that day to come was shocking. So when the parent is finally saying no, and that we're finally saying we will not be mistreated no more, or our fruits that we do on our labors will not be taken advantage of anymore. We will not carry the weight anymore. It's over. The free ride is over for the world from the United States. We're done. And so now it's a big
We've been
no.
hydrating all the other countries and not doing anything here
Exactly.
financially. That's horrible.
And they know, but this is the thing. At some point, it was going to break.
That's what they want.
Yeah, it was going to break. Well, I think they wanted, because they wanted the fruits to go on and on for them. But now it's not. The fruits
They're
are
going down, period.
It's not going to continue, those fruits. That's the whole thing. So the reality of not getting that is hit. And it's blunt. And it's up front in your face. And it's everywhere. Because we're not recognizing the corruption's been so long for everybody. They've adapted to thinking the corruption's in a good way. It's not. So there's no place to hide. There's nowhere they can go. You have to abide by the laws, the regions. I always say the 4 regions of how things are going to be. And then the fruits will come in. And then these are the new guidelines and how we get funded. They never said they were going to fund the evil. They never said that they were going to give evil the money. They're not. That's why they're fighting, because they are not getting it. They're not getting nothing. They're not going to be able to have anything to use as value. They already took their land. They already took their bank accounts. It's already gone. And now we're down to the end.
Good. Well, someone is asking, horrible. These children have had to go through for eons. I just pray this is finally over with. Any insight as to when the madness will end, Jenny?
For the children?
I believe so.
This is what Spirit has said to me. And I think with the end of the children, the suffering has to do with what we will hear within the soul. That is that ultimate that brings us to our knees. But with bringing us to our knees, there's a emotion that we haven't felt for them. That's why it's important to feel that emotion. So, and that has to do with the pink clouds and the fog and the energy changing, because that can't be forgotten in a different way. So not allowing to express ourselves in the mourning. There's a stage of mourning that we have to mourn for the children in a frequency way and an energy way. The end is when you know that they're at peace. And so when I want to look at this percentage-wise, the UK still feels like there's some work to be done there. California, there's a little bit, not as much as we're thinking. I mean, I believe you've already seen a lot of the world been cleaned up and drowned out. So California, there's this last phase of being drowned out in those tunnels. Everything's a purification, whether it's fire or water. It's a purification that has to come. So what percentage are we at on that? I say we're at 75%. As Spirit says. Because I think the beings that are working you know, they want to get this enlightened of knowing everything that is evil is not here, and that there is no option for that in the future anymore. And like I said, the negative wants their history or their past to be remembered. And that was the one thing that Creator says it'll be annihilated. It's
Good.
going to be annihilated.
Good.
Because
glad to
that's
hear
what
that.
brings goodness is the annihilation of that. It's the bringing of a new dawn, the ringing, and that's why you need to look to the star that's coming. That's the new world symbol of that, and the new beginning. So it's listening. I'm doing a class right now about, how we're opening up the soul in a different way, and we're listening in a different way, and we're viewing in a different way, and hearing it. We're hearing it in the soul, and we're aligning, just like the animals are aligning for Creator's voice to come to align us, but also allow us to know the pain and the suffering, that we need to all reside with that suffering of knowing what happened. They won't be able to deny it, which they, most Democrats I've seen, they want to be in denial about it. And I don't want to talk about it. I don't want you to bring it up. And that's ego. Because they need to recognize the suffering in that whole process. And that's the thing, that one of my projects for humanity, there has to be a day of remembering what the souls of the young child has sacrificed for. If there's any day that needs to be remembered, it's a day of that. And I was remembering, it's even in my book that I was thinking, and the Spirit was reminding me to reflect on it. So, Jen, you've been digging up the ground since you were 4. You've been digging dolls out of the ground since you were 4. You were always going to do this. You're always going to resurface everything to the ground, up to the top, And so it's all about the truth. But we also have to recognize that day is about recognizing their pain. It's just the same thing as a spirit not being remembered. It has to have that process to be remembered. It has to bring us to our knees. It's important. I can't hear you.
I hear people arguing. I had to put the mute on outside of my room, and the dogs just barked too. So that's why I had these energies are bringing up stuff in people that wouldn't normally happen. See what I mean? Anyway.
There you go. Can't hear you.
Sorry. I want to talk, but I also don't want you to hear what's going on either. Jenny, what is the significance of the key Trump presented Elon with?
Well, I know about keys, and keys are dimensional. It's the key. First of all, for me, what Spirit is saying right now, that Elon has done everything he's supposed to do. And that's that technology, and that technology dismantled the Matrix. So here's the key to the future. It's yours. Now you can use it, and without repercussions or anybody getting in your way. And it's the key to the golden age. It reaches to the path, the yellow brick road.
I'll be right back. I'm sorry. I have to step out just for 1 second. So just keep talking, please. Okay.
So that key is a key to freedom. That we are no longer in a process that anybody has control over us anymore. And so everything is open. So I think, like I talked about the incineration, that no one's in his way to do what he's supposed to do now. The biggest process of that is to give the people the fruits, which has been denied to them since King David. And the elders, and I mean, this is the thing I have talked about, that Spirit has talked about, seeing a celebration. I kept saying, they're saying there's celebration. Where's the celebration coming from? And I go, and I picked up Texas. It's just like the celebration is going to be in Texas. So Elon did what he's supposed to do. And now he's passing the key to Trump to lead us. And I think I have a picture. Oh my gosh, I do. I have a picture of Trump sitting in the red chair, and the keys is at the bottom of the throne with the lions in front of him. So it was always about opening it. They're like, remember, and that's on Instagram. But they have, I think there might be a chess piece on that too. It's a checkmate. There's nothing in his way anymore. If you want to look at what is left to dismantle, I mean, what's left?
Yeah, really. Somebody brought out, what about the 650 plane loads of gold taken from the Vatican to
Those
the
are in
US?
Texas.
It's all in Texas, right? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard too.
There's more gold in the ground, and then I think I saw it in Africa today. Where they suppressed us digging in the ground and getting that we've always had access to, but we weren't able to dig it up. So you're going to see a lot of that being brought to the surface. So, like I said, it was always Trump's path to open that door and lead us into the future. And so Elon is at a point of, I'm done with this process, and now I got to focus on the technology of the advancement of the future. And so it's allowing the new beginning to start. And then setting, which may be the key, but maybe the chain. It might be the key to releasing the chains that we have no longer combined to us anymore, that's around us. It's freedom. Because I really ask yourself that question. Who's in control now? They've already annihilated pretty much everything that needs to be annihilated. Now it's all about seeing them as they were annihilated, and seeing them with a view through a TV. And so another thing is, I've already heard that those frequency devices that heal the body, they're slowly going to put them out. And I'm going to tell you what, how I think they're already being seen is seeing these flatbed semis that are moving these bigger items that you think that look like everybody thinks they're UFOs. They're not. They're the devices. What's next is the medical field being in a dismantling phase of incineration. and the legal field that's already in the way of being dismantled. So, but there's nothing holding Trump back now from finishing what he was supposed to finish.
He was given this job by the White Hats.
He was good at
He was
doing what he was told to do.
And that's a lot. That was quite a job. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, there was a question back here I wanted to ask, and somebody asked, and I forgot. It was from Forever Unlimited, and I wanted to bring it up, but I can't find it. Oh well. Yeah, if I see some other one.
So I want to talk about something. So through heartache and pain and suffering, and like you feel that in the 3D, and I feel like there's this enlightenment energy that's going to come in us. There's this happiness that's going to be created, and that is what the evil can't be around. They can't breathe in it. And Spirit showed me these, it's almost like these particles, these in the air that looks like dust, that's going to be removed. And we think, it's just part of the air, and it's not. So it's going to be interesting how those beings that cannot submerge in light can be a part of light. It's going to be interesting how that portrays out when it happens. We need to get past the fact of seeing this in a 3D. When they say that things could happen overnight, that's already started. It's already happening. I mean, we're waking up in the morning and knowing it's a new day, but it's not ever the day of the past. Things are changing. Our world is reacting.
Somebody said that, are you doing asking if you're doing a live with Ismael Perez in a couple of weeks. Something like that. Apparently he said so on a show. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's going to be on my platform, my channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't had him on for a while.
My way. So yeah, he's going to come on there. So it should be interesting. Everybody has different views on things, and I don't mind listening to that, but you know me. Just like the way you are. You're going to say what you feel. And he knows that about me. So it should be interesting. But there's something that he informed me on that I gave him some information on, so I hope he completes it. So, just in this field, how things are, people take advantage in a different way. So that's going to be interesting how he takes control of certain things again. And I believe he will. So,
are the children still being rescued now, or are they safe now?
That's what I was talking about, the percentage. The percentage that I see that is spiritually done is at a 75%. So you know how we get things done and we close in on the enemy, and there's only so many areas they can hide now. And so I think the enclosement of those areas are being done. California is the big one. There's stuff still in the UK that I get. There's still some stuff in Canada that still needs to be completed.
Do you know about this? Is it true that ICE is also arresting citizens that have been here for years? I became a citizen in the early 2000s.
Well, I don't believe that. If they've committed a crime, if they have the information, or venting them. I mean, the media is going to spin it any way they can. So I already talked about that they have to go through a process of venting through them. So what you see on the media is to play into that process. Be careful what you're perceiving and what they're putting you through to think that these are bad. They're bad ice. They're doing bad things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like somebody that's been here for, raised a family here and everything, and they're kicking them out. I don't think they're that heartless. I really don't. But here's what I think, and a lot of people think this: the Earth Alliance or Whiteheads should just pull the plug, blackout necessary, and just be done with it. Roll the damn film. Geez, already.
Light the damn match.
Yep. Collapse it all.
Yes.
So we can go back to the future. I never did understand that, but I do now. As crazy as that sounds, going back to the future.
Yes. Exactly.
Going back to what we used to be. Going back to the way it used to be, not that we are even aware of.
Yes.
Back to our original form, our original blueprint, the original blueprint of the Earth, and so on. That's going to be absolutely amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And it is, and I think for a while, this year, because Spirit told me to step back a little, because I used to be that, I used to really stand on that sense of being that alpha female of looking at everything and examining, because they had a year, they just wanted me to purge through everything and get the truth. And there's another layer of me looking at things, because we're getting down to that circle, and they're like, now it's time to go in for details of information and be direct on what's really going on. We've sat in a phase of looking at it from a different view for a while, and now it's like pushing everything over the cliff. It's like it's time to go to a different level of truth. It's to finish it off, it's to complete it, it's to be done with it, it's to end it, everything. So the truth needs to be called out and the light in a different way now, completely. So here we are. Okay. So, yeah.
Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's any other good questions in here. We're getting short on time here pretty soon. Okay, this is Teresa. All collapsing and has no power behind it, but desperate for loosh, and like a chicken with its head cut off.
Right. Right. So
it's kind of a morbid thought, but anyway.
Yeah, we're at 8:30, so
yeah. Okay.
So
shall we call it a night?
Yeah, and ring the bell.
Okay. And I have a golden bell.
Oh wow, that's a nice golden bell. I like that bell.
But I'm sure it's not real gold. It's just plated.
Well, I know, but it's pretty good. It's an example of the future that's coming.
Okay. You have your bell?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I know what the question was. Somebody said that I wanted to put up there, Jenny, just before we go, because it's kind of funny, is that somebody should go into Congress and ring the bell and watch the demons run.
Yes, that would be great, wouldn't it? Because you would see it. They would probably be climbing the walls and the pillars and everything. And it does. It irritates.
And just keep on ringing them.
There's an irritation with it. That they
burn some sage too.
Exactly.
Tell them it's incense and burn sage.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Okay. Well,
so they all, they know how to contact me. They get classes and readings and everything like that. And I'm in a new place, and I'm doing a lot of different stuff here in Fargo now. I'm just, Spirit is like, I need you to be in the physical, doing these bigger communities and you're reaching them. So, I mean, it's just, I think this is the thing. The awakened ones, the healers, the ones that we have a lot more work to do. And I've said this, this is just the beginning. There's a lot that has to be done. After everything's flipped, then it's like, okay, we're going into a different phase of working and holding the line and direction. So it's just like, hold your breath, because it's a different type of work that you're going to end up doing. So that's what's coming. So we're all looking at the humanity process of this, and that's what's coming. And then it's like, there's no time to sit down and take a break. It is like, let's get to work as humanity together needs to. So it's important.
Yeah. Even everyone needs to do their part.
Yes, they do.
So, your final words?
Hold the line. Walk in the line of fire, because it's coming.
So, I'll say stay free, stay resonant, and be kind to others. Very important. Alrighty then, we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. Rise up, stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, finding our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice